Welcome back. It's to the news review segment right here on Breakfast Daily. And we want to hear from you and your thoughts regarding the budget reading that is going to be happening today, your expectations and so on. So the WhatsApp number is 0204-447-033. Kindly let us know. And then, of course, my guests will be discussing this issue into detail, and you can share your thoughts with us on their comments as well. All right. Larry. Yes. Today's budget, your expectations. What should Ghanaians expect?
I think this is the first budget of the Mahama administration. Sorry, of the second coming of John Mahama. Now, in opposition, he made several promises that he thought that the COVID levy had outlived their,
Its usefulness.
Yeah, their name. Actually, I think their name, and then also Ghanaians were overburdened with taxes and so on. The economy wasn't running well, and that something has to be done. Okay, and indeed, in that discussion, he promised to do a national dialogue on the economy, which has been done. Now, I don't think during that discussion, it came out that the COVID levies were going to be scrapped, or which other one? There was one, the e-levy.
E-levy,
yes, was COVID, the betting tax and all that, whether they came out. But as of yesterday, Felix Ofosu-Kwakye announced that all those things were going to go away. However, I've heard Professor Bob King and some others saying that, you could scrap e-levy and then the COVID and all those stuff. However, the betting tax, if you could reduce it a bit, instead of 10, you can lower it to 5. More for a deterrent effect.
Okay.
And that sounded very convincing. Again,
but deterrence shouldn't be the other way around, increasing it.
Yeah. So no, they thought that
really want a deterrence.
Yeah, they thought that taking it out completely wouldn't be the best of things, and that it should be lowered a bit, so that at least while you are deterring the people, you can also create some. Apparently, there are a lot of people who make money from betting.
Yeah.
Elsewhere, the EPL that we have behind that, it's a whole betting industry. South Africa, I hear, makes a lot of money out of that. Nigeria also makes a lot of money from betting and all that. So I think that is what Ghana is trying to do. I have seen Atuforsin, do a lot of consultations here and there. The other day he was in Makola interacting with the women.
Some people are saying that interaction was after the fact.
Well, yes, I've heard that. Then the next day I saw him, on Twitter, also interacting with people, mainly the youth who are on most of these social media platforms and so on. And again, there
was a Twitter Space event that took place, and he was the main person.
Yes, that also came out quite strongly. I would have expected that some of these things were long done, even before the national dialogue.
Yeah, so there you see him pictured, and he's going around interviewing different people.
If you know Atu very well, he's kind of very,
affable.
His human relations solid and so on. He comes across as, a very friendly, open, minded guy. He could take on board your suggestions and so on. I was going to say that I can't see Ken Oforiatta doing this.
Well, some people are also saying that this is just optics. This is just
populism.
Optics. It's populism. That's what some people are saying.
Yeah.
For example, you can see one of the ladies with a microphone attached to her. You see, this guy, for example, there's a microphone attached to him, which means that it was set up for that. It wasn't spur of the moment.
Yeah.
Do you understand? They planned it, they set it up, they went to specific shops, specific people, and so on. I think there's nothing wrong with optics, even if it's just optics.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with optics.
Yeah.
For me, it's important for us to see that we are relating with the people, with ordinary persons.
You see, I agree with you to a point where most of the things that were said during that time, tomorrow, you might think that today is nothing, but tomorrow, the opposition could confront you with it. Now listen, you even went to the market, and then this is what the market women told you. How is that, reflected in the document that eventually you presented? You get it? And you would have to justify it or admit that, hey, it wasn't factored altogether. So there's, it's not just an ordinary thing that one would want to just, wish away like that. But I think that whatever he's going to present today should make life better. Okay, should make life better. That the promises that President Mahama made or the NDC made, okay, during the campaign season, we should begin to see some of those things in there.
Implemented.
I've heard the opposition say that, hey, you know something, there is an attempt to raise 250 billion Ghana cedis from within the, within the year. And that is going to happen with taxes and all manner of levies that the budget is going to throw at us. I heard the gentleman who is heading GRA admits that, yes, indeed, that is true, and that there's so much money that can be raised from the economy, okay? And that things are going to be put in place to do that. I hope that most of those things are not going to get us as a people to suffer. Because at the end of the day, government is supposed to care. You are like a mother who is supposed to care for everyone. Not to grab everybody and then squeeze whatever that is in there from here.
All right. Abish. Yes, your take on today. What are your expectations?
Well, let me put it on record. Yesterday, the Ghana Statistical Service actually gave the final report of the economy as at the end of 2024.
Are they also late?
No, that's their report. They do.
I'm asking if they're also late because I've also heard. Sorry to badge, but I've heard that why did they do that a day to and that they should have done it quite earlier than that.
They have their timeline, so that's why we can't blame them. For them, they work
typically doesn't. It's not real time.
They have their timelines for working. So the economy as at the end 2024 grew by 5.7% per Ghana Statistical Service. The budget target was 3.4 and was revised to 4%. So it means that we've exceeded the budget target of 4% to 5.7. The services sector alone contributed 49.2% of that growth. And industry contributed 31.9%. Out of the 31.9% that industry contributed, mining and quarry alone is responsible for 43% of that growth. And agriculture grew by contributed 19% to the GDP growth. Public debt also dropped to 61.8%. In terms of public debt to GDP ratio, also dropped to 61.8% from 80.4% in 2020. So 4 years down the line, it had declined from 80.4% to 61.8%. So I'm giving this to give an idea of the kind of economy that the current government has inherited and we need to build on. The budget is going to be read today, and people are talking about tax and that and that. See, this country, until we just run away from populism, we are going nowhere. When NPP came to power, they also promised to reduce a lot of taxes, right?
To call it no
we'll go from taxation to production.
So let me give you some of the examples, okay?
God's back economy.
MPP abolished the 5% VAT and NHIL on real estate. They abolished 17.5% VAT NHIL on selected imported medicines that are not produced locally. It abolished 17.5% VAT and NHIL on financial services because now the previous government had introduced that on financial services. That's what people take away. Okay. That you remember that issue?
Economics.
Abolished import duty on the importation of spare parts. Abolished 1% special import levy. Abolished 17.5% VAT on the domestic airline tickets. Abolished levies imposed on kaya. Reduced import duty to some goods and vehicles. That is the what we call benchmark values. Abolished excise duty on petroleum. Provided full corporate tax deduction for private universities who plow back 100% of profit into the university. Others include reduce, where they did the reduction, reduce national electrification levy from 5% to 3%, reduce public lighting levy from 5% to 2%. You will see about 18 things that they either abolished or reduced. That is first year in government because you promised in your campaign, I'll make life easy for the people. Second year, third year, by 2019-2020, now new taxes, things, VAT re-rationalization from combined 15% to now 17.5% to now we have 15% and 2.5%, which traders will say it makes them to pay more. So I'm bringing all this to say it is normal for a new government to come to power and cut and abolish taxes, but when you go forward and you are faced with the reality, your biggest problem is revenue mobilization. Because revenue, you need to do everything. And once you are faced with that, you have fulfilled the political promise in the first year. But second and third year going, you'll be forced to bring in several other taxes. So the question is, where are we going? Because we as a country have not agreed that, look, there's no need to politicize A or B, because for the nation's progress, that is what we need to do. And I'm coming to the promise to abolish something like e-levy.
Yeah, there you have it. So you can see.
To abolish e-levy, at the end of 2024, total transactions in terms of Momo, it is 3 trillion Ghana cedis.
3 trillion
3 trillion Ghana cedis.
Okay.
Total transactions.
Okay.
Your total economy is what? Yet just transactions in financial services, Momo, was 3 trillion.
Yeah.
So people may complain, but if you are able to show that this money we are collecting from e-levy, we are putting it here, and these are the impacts.
But what you just mentioned, the 3 trillion, that does it mean government was mobilized that amount of money, or is just a transaction moving from you to me? Or
is a transaction?
Okay, so but the impression is being created as though the government mobilized that.
No. I'm talking about transaction. That is the transaction that we are taxing.
Yes.
That is so e-levy. That's what I'm talking about.
So how much tax came out of that?
Volume of transaction.
Yeah.
How much tax came out of that?
Per the records, by the end of this year, government should be making at least 3 or 4 billion from e-levy.
Yeah.
In terms of the revenue.
That's a lot of money.
I ask myself, a struggling country like this, and we can generate this kind of money, we think we should throw it away. I think that we are not being smart, to me. It's painful tax, but where is the world going? The world is going to a digitized economy.
Yeah.
If you can make this money, the NDC in its manifesto promised to establish a fintech fund to support the growth of fintechs. Fintechs are creating a lot of jobs in the system now.
Yeah.
I don't think abolishing e-levy is the solution.
Okay.
I think if you keep the e-levy and say, I'm dedicating it to 2 things, that's my proposal. I'm going to put more money, instead of the $50 million, I want to put maybe $200 or $300 million into a fintech fund to grow the fintech, because the entire world is moving toward digitalization. In fact, today, if you take the first 10 the 10 most valuable companies in the world, they are all IT and tech companies. That is what is growing and running any country. And therefore, I would have said that it's a painful tax, but this is what we are going to. We want to invest heavily in fintech. And then part of the money we want to use it as a strategic fund. What we are going to do is all the youth that we see at Tiptoe, Madina Zongo Junction, Kumasi, Hifawara, who have not actually gone to any formal training, but they can repair your mobile phone that is destroyed and make it new for you. Your laptop, they can change it for you. These are young people who don't have any certification, so they may not be able to apply for remote jobs abroad. Why don't you design a curriculum and says, when Legon, KNUS, and Co are on vacation for 3 months, we are bringing these young people there. We have designed a course in partnership with maybe Silicon Valley or Accession University that within 3 or 4 months, these young people can get certain certification that will make sure that even when they are sitting in Ghana here, aside repairing these phones and laptops, they can also apply for remote jobs anywhere in the world. And they have the certification to prove that they are competent in doing it. If you are investing e-levy into this, and maybe at the end of 4 years, you are able to train 500,000 young people who do not have to rely on government for jobs, but are on the internet searching for remote jobs anywhere in the world, and will sit in Ghana and work at the end of the month, maybe have 2 or 3 remote jobs, can earn 5,000 or 6,000 cedis from the salaries that they are paid from there. Those young people will not be complaining about joblessness in this country. And I think that anybody who is pushing for the scrapping of e-levy is only looking at the pain we are feeling when we transfer money. But if we can really make this e-levy money that will go into certain, that we can show in 4 years, we can say we have trained 500,000 young people. Maybe 50,000 of them have actually secured remote jobs and are working and getting paid. They don't even care about any job in Ghana because they are making good money. I think it will be a better use.
And yes,
it will be a better use for e-levy rather than scrapping it. Because look, let me tell you, this country, when we are talking about economic growth, the reason we are struggling, it is not any problem. The problem is that in this country, the latest data, also from Ghana Statistical Service, National Report on Productivity, Employment and Growth. Listen to what it says. It says that 80% of Ghana's workers found in the informal sector contribute only 27% of GDP. Total people who say they are employed in Ghana, 80% plus are in the informal sector. But though they are the largest, they contribute only 27% to GDP. Why? The report explains informal sector activities are dominated by own account work, where earnings are typically low and irregular. So it says the 80% we are seeing, most of them, what they do, what they earn are not much. That is why their contribution to the GDP is small. The remaining 20% that we say are informal, are formal sector employees, almost half of them are public sector workers. So the private sector, formal private sector, is actually not the one that is propelling employment in this country. And therefore what it means is that the 80% that are in jobs that they are not satisfied because they are earning something low, when you ask them, they'll tell Ghana is hard because whatever I'm earning is not enough for me. And therefore, we have to look at how we reorganize the economy. If you are depending on this kind of productivity, then you have a 5.7% growth, but people will be largely unemployed because you are growing at a jobless economy. Economies can grow on paper by figures, but then there's joblessness. If you look at our exports, 80% of all exports last year comes from gold, cocoa, and oil. How many people is the oil sector employing? How many people is the gold mining sector employing? So if they are contributing 80% of your exports, how do you think that you are doing well? So you see, the budget we are going to read, this populist approach that we have adopted all these years is the reason our economy is where it is. That's why I've always said that the 1D, 1F may have faced challenges, but we need to investigate. Because Ghana is largely an agrarian country. We need to be able to establish raw material production to support light industrialization. And until we are able to do that, we will struggle. Or, as I said, invest heavily in IT and AI and grow. The reason economic recessions don't really affect, or the developed countries don't really feel much impact of economic recessions is that government is not the driver of economic growth. The driver of economic growth is the private sector. So in the US, where things will be hard, in a quarter, Facebook can bring in profit margins of 50 billion. Amazon can bring 50 billion. All those IT companies, Apple, and all the rest, the Teslas, they will bring in the money, and the government will take the taxes from those money to be able to get money to run its business. But when ours is that 80% of those who say they are employed, they say it's about 14.3 million. 80% of them say that they are doing their own jobs, and the survey shows that what they earn is minimal, so it doesn't make any impact. The remaining 20%, half of those people are on government payroll. So the little money you collect, you're actually using a larger percentage of that money to pay salaries. There's no way you are going to tell me you are going to read a budget that is going to transform anything significant. If we continue to do things the way we keep doing it.
All right, thank you very much. You have the last bite.
Sure. So I sent you a publication that the Herald did about Sam George, the Minister for Communication, signing an MOU with MTN that's supposed to do digital training for the youth.
Yes.
And I think that was part of the NDC campaign.
The promise.
Yeah. So what he said that, go to, is it Tiptoe Lane? And all these other areas where these are ordinary people who don't have any training in IT, but they are able to repair phones and so on and so forth. I think that it's a good idea, but I don't think that, the government doesn't think that e-levy is what's supposed to be used to do that. However, go into another arrangement with some of these telcos, and then that can ensure the training. Now, when I was coming, I noticed that China's, the Communist Party is having its Congress in China. And they are celebrating the fact that they have done, is it deep what?
DeepSeek.
DeepSeek.
The AI,
exactly.
DeepSeek. Yeah.
And that is supposed to be rivaling, the US AI.
In fact, it has cost the AI company in the world within 2 days to lose $2 trillion. Because they invested just $6 million to achieve something that the American companies have invested hundreds of millions of dollars. So when the news broke that they've done something and the tech people analyze, they say the thing is even looking like even better than all the ones that the US people have done. But done at a cheaper cost.
So you see,
but done at a cheaper cost.
So you see where we are now. Well, others are saying that, listen, it's not even agriculture anymore. By agriculture, that whole place has been utilized. However, technology is the next, frontier. So that is what is being deployed. Are we debating that? Agric, we haven't done anything. We are still importing, food from outside. Despite our, whatever it is. Okay, to a point where Akukon Kitinkiti was, the
campaign message.
The campaign message in the last election.
And you're going to be in the budget.
You get it? Our lands, are there, being converted into concrete jungles and so on. Others have moved on to now be debating about AI. US, China, Canada, all that. Did you listen to the attack from Trudeau on Trump?
No.
In response to the trade war that has been declared on Canada. It's beautiful. You need to listen to that. And so people are thinking, people are moving on, people are subjecting, are caring enough about their society.
All right.
Okay? Yes. But we are here and we haven't gotten hold of agriculture. The AI debate, people have left us already.
Yeah.
And we don't know where we are going to start from.
Yeah.
We have not started. We have no idea what is even going on in the AI industry.
The internet.
You understand it?
Yeah.
And the e-levy. Another thing I want them to do is that part of that money should be used to establish a secondary school in each region that is focused only on tech and AI. We are digitizing our country. The world is moving towards digitizing. But education, do you know that there's an IFC report? I published that prior to the election. And I was attacked because they think I was supporting Baumia. There's an AFC report that says Ghana can create.
Why are you in a hurry?
Ghana can create.
So you are saying
Ghana can create 9 million jobs. Yes.
And then let's use the money to invest for
it
our
says
future.
Ghana can create 9 million jobs just in the AI and tech sector.
Okay.
And the report
9
is so
million.
9 million jobs. And the report is so deep, sector by sector, what the government needs to do. When you read that report, you know that solving unemployment problem in Ghana is no longer agric or factory, but rather AI.
Which of the IFCs?
International Finance Corporation.
Okay.
When you look at the report, it's so detailed and explains what we need. In fact, the report actually went ahead and says that all our public sector workers need complete retraining in IT.
Okay.
Because if we don't do it, the system we are deploying,
10 minutes
they
to
can't.
finish this thing.
No.
They can't
Why?
even use the system we are deploying effectively.
We are done.
So for me, anybody that is pushing
We are
for
not done.
the cancellation of e-levy, I think that the person is not understanding where the world is going and the kind of investment we need to make to be able to go there. So if e-levy, let's say in the next 4 years, it gives a total revenue of 20 billion. And we decide that 20 billion is not going to say we are paying school fees. Everything should just be focused on pushing Ghana to the AI direction.
Quick 1 minute.
Do you know what would have been in the next 4 years?
Give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute.
That will win another election for NDC if they do that.
Give me 1 minute.
That they invest 20 billion in AI in that sector.
I agree.
You have 30 seconds.
Thank you. I agree with him, 100%. I mean, in Ghana, we've had secondary schools established for agriculture. Yet we didn't do much. Most of those schools didn't even have school farms. We've had
because we didn't finance them.
we've had colleges. I think the Kwadaso, and then Legon. Legon has a serious, agri department.
In fact, Legon Farms is now.
Legon Farms is now,
all
that. I'm right here. All those things and so on.
I've been telling you to settlements.
Yes, I mean, see, how wicked can we be to ourselves? And you know something? Most of these lands have been taken over by politicians and their families. They've been converted into homes, real estate houses, and so on by politicians and then their families.
All right.
Kweku, I mean, so if, let's say, we have lost the agriculture, then maybe the AI it could be the way to go.
All right, okay.
Larry,
thank you very much.
E-levy can generate 20 billion.
Let me say a big thank you to my guests this morning.
The job is obvious the time is not enough. The job is to create
we'll
in this
take a quick
economy.
break.
Will be more than
putting
people in the security service.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.